Yes, graduates, welcome to Hard Talk Podcast with HTK. Fasten your seatbelts.
Hey users and subscribers, well go on. Welcome back to another episode of Hard Talk with HTK. As Jamaica gears up for its elections on the 3rd of September 2025, Chief Curry has come forward to have his final say in support of the People's National Party, giving his firm affirmations as to why it is that he is opposed to the Jamaica Labour Party getting yet another term in leadership. Now, as you know, the cockpit country is the largest block of continuous vegetation and the most intact example of wet limestone forest in Jamaica. Its flora exemplifies the outstanding endemism of the Caribbean. There are 106 plant species in Jamaica that are only found in the cockpit country. Now, there has been ongoing debates regarding the bordering and the overlap of the mining and conservation projects in Jamaica's cockpit country. And in 2023, a protected area was created in Jamaica to shield the biodiverse cockpit country from bauxite mining. The government has promised that no mining will take place within the boundaries of that protected area. The forested area, characterized by its landscape, conical hillocks, steep valleys, sinkholes, caves, and underground streams, is also a haven for endemic and endangered species, a fertile ground for Jamaica's famous yam farming, and a source of people's livelihoods and fresh water. Above everything, it is the area that is also the home to the Accompong Maroons, descendants of the runaway slaves and indigenous people who fled slavery, found refuge in the rugged environment, and to this day consider the cockpit country a sovereign state. Now, despite massive resistance, the Jamaican government had approved the protected area and the mining concession in one go. And while often creating areas of nature conservation has become a common fix for mining companies to secure space for extraction while being green, in reality, the border between the mining areas and the actual conservation area is fictitious, where they are seeing that the protected areas do not actually guarantee protection. Often, areas once considered to be designated in perpetuity are susceptible to downgrading, downsizing, and political revisions. This boundary effect between protected areas and the surrounding zone can be expected when boundaries are proposed to protect nature. With no state to turn to, people have found no other alternative but to appeal to the international bodies and sue both the state and the mining companies on human rights grounds. The Accompong Maroons, who have threatened with war and conjured the warrior spirit of their ancestors to fight mining to the last Maroon, have also sued the state for invading indigenous territory. From as far back as June 2022, Richard Curry, who acts as the head of state of cockpit country, tweeted that the Maroon government had filed a lawsuit against the government of Jamaica and the Jamaica National Heritage Trust, partly because of the trespass to the Maroon estate, which has been unlawfully permitted by the government of Jamaica to be mined for bauxite and other raw ore minerals. The position of the Accompong Maroon government has categorically been that the cockpit country belongs to them, a right guaranteed by virtue of the 1738 Peace Treaty and by recognized internationally as indigenous people, and therefore entitled to land rights as under international laws. He has recently come forward with a video, which I shall share with you now, where he further expounds on this matter. I'd like you to take a listen.
Greetings. This is a public statement by the ambassador of the state of Accompong. And this is a rebuttal to the government of Jamaica's attempt to annex the cockpit country. Brothers, sisters, citizens of Jamaica, and to the international community, I stand before you today in the spirit of truth and in defense of our ancestors, our heritage, and our living sovereignty. The government of Jamaica, under the leadership of Prime Minister Andrew Holness, and Minister Olivia Grange has secretly submitted to UNESCO a claim that the Cockpit country be designated a World Heritage Site under the jurisdiction of the state of Jamaica. This submission was done without the free, prior and informed consent of the Akongpong Maroons or the wider Maroon communities, who are the treaty holders and original custodians of these lands. This act is not conservation. This is annexation by deception. The Cockpit country is not simply a forest reserve or a geological marvel. It is the sacred and treaty-protected homeland of the Leeward Maroons, secured in perpetuity by the 1738 peace treaty with the British Crown. That treaty remains binding under international law, and under Clause 4, the Savings Clause of Jamaica's Constitution, which affirms that no law of the independent state of Jamaica can extinguish or diminish the rights guaranteed before independence. The Cockpit country was never ceded, never sold, and never surrendered. So to attempt to place it under Jamaica's state jurisdiction, whether by parliamentary act, executive declaration, or an international submission, is a direct violation of international law, indigenous sovereignty, and territorial integrity. We remind the government of Jamaica, UNESCO, and the international community that the Maroon legal status is not folklore. It is recognized history, ratified by treaty, reaffirmed by the British Crown at the independence in 1962, and most recently acknowledged by the United Nations Third Committee, which on May 12, 2025, demanded that Jamaica answer to its violation of indigenous rights and human rights. So by secretly submitting the Cockpit country as a state-owned heritage site, the Holness administration has attempted to erase Maroon sovereignty while benefiting from the culture and its ecological legacy, creating and defending by the Maroons and our Taino predecessors. This is cultural theft, political fraud, and a breach of international trust. To Minister Grange and the government of Jamaica, I say clearly, you cannot appropriate Maroon lands under the guise of conservation. You cannot rewrite history to strip the Leeward Maroons of our treaty-protected homeland, and you cannot trample upon the rights of the indigenous people with impunity. We call upon UNESCO to reject Jamaica's fraudulent submission, and we call upon the international community to hold Jamaica accountable under international law. And we call upon the Jamaican people to see through this deception. What is presented as protection is in fact annexation and exploitation. For centuries, the Cockpit country has been our refuge, our fortress, our source of life and spirit. It was here that Captain Kodjo and our ancestors fought and won our freedom, securing the first treaty of its kind in the Americas. It remains today not only our homeland, but a global symbol of resistance, survival, and self-determination. Let it be known, the Akongpong Maroons will never consent to the surrender of Cockpit country's sovereignty. We will defend our rights in the courts of law, the courts of public opinion, and if necessary, before the international community of nations. The treaty still stands. The sovereignty still stands. The Cockpit country still stands. And so do we. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Now, currently, the areas of Port Royal, Blue, and Jonker Mountains in Jamaica are on our World Heritage List. There are currently 2 sites on the tentative list, which are properties that state parties intends to consider for nomination. Those include the Seville Heritage Park and the Cockpit Country Protected Area, which was submitted in April 2025 by, of course, Babsy Grange, who is the Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. Now, the World Heritage Center at UNESCO has published this tentative list to ensure that there is transparency, access to information, and ensuring that the Jamaican public are aware of what is taking place with their lands. It states that the sole responsibility for the content of each tentative list lies with the state party concerned, and that the publication of the tentative list does not imply the expression of any opinion whatsoever of the World Heritage Committee or of the World Heritage Center or the Secretariat of UNESCO concerning the legal status of any country, territory, city, or area, or of its boundaries. Now, surely, when the cockpit country was submitted, a consultation should have taken place with the Maroons of the cockpit country, who are the prime residents and the significant holders of the land. Now, what does it mean to be a UNESCO World Heritage Site? It means that this is a landmark area recognized by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization for its outstanding universal value. It means that the area possesses immense cultural, natural, or historical significance that transcends national boundaries. Now, while this may sound wonderful on the surface, because why wouldn't you want to protect an area that is designated for its historical value and the fact that there is such a huge amount of historical significance in the area? There is also the flip side of the political when it comes to the fact that the sites of global culture or natural significance will require member countries to protect them through collaborative management plans and international scrutiny. Now, if this is the case, and you have got a sovereign nation living within the cockpit country, they should be intrinsic to all decisions being made about the land. They have not been called to the table. This decision being made behind the backs of their compound people shows that the government intends to oust them from all decision-making processes regarding the cockpit country itself, and that they intend to take the lead when any decisions are being made about the territory, despite the fact that they have got sovereignty over the land. A very serious decision to be made, and almost like a cultural and historical slap in the face for their compounds. Do let me know what you think about this issue in the comments. It does look like there will be continued warfare over who has the final say with regards to how the cockpit country is to be maintained, protected, and lived in, despite the history and the records of law that has ensured that that land be not touched by anyone but the Maroons. This is your girl, Head Teacher K, and I'm out.
Please don't stop the violence. Please don't stop the war. Please don't stop the violence, please. The war not look good. Please don't stop it. Please stop the war, please. They are begging to stop the violence. Stop the war. Too much thing. Jesus. I joke me, I'm going to continue.